J-Man here with the weekly X-Men talk. 2 books this week for X-Men. A lot of the stuff this week was DC Future State, which I did a video on. Check that out if you have any interest in the DC stuff. My take on it. I'm also doing a giveaway for that particular video to just to kind of celebrate in a small way the DC Future State stuff. Not that you may think it's not worthy of celebration or whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, check that out. Okay, so 2 books today. X-Factor number 6, and we're talking about these digitally through Comixology. Siren on the cover. She's awesome. This book started out quite trash, to be honest with you. I really did not like the first half of this book at all. A lot of stupid things happened. And you guys know that I'm not about any kind of like politics or any of that kind of stuff. I'm always reviewing the book that I'm reading. I'm not reviewing the people behind it. I just did a Star Wars High Republic video where I explained all of this. It doesn't matter to me what someone's agenda might be. I just reading what I'm reading. Okay, so it starts off. They're investigating the body of Siren, who I really like. She's a cool character. And there's like this cop here. And like, this is just so bad. He's like the white old cop. And he's like, oh, mutants suck and all that. And I mean, like, I'm okay with that, really. But the way that they handled it here was just a fail. Because Polaris, like, uses her powers and like knocks him over. Let me see if I, like, she knocks him down, you know, to punish him, and you know, and he's an ass. He's like, oh, you know, you mutant scumbags and whatever. And I'm like, you know, it would have been a little bit better if she would have went up to him, or if iBoy or somebody went up to him and said, hey, you know, we're just doing our job. We're cool people, and maybe do something nice to try to combat that, or do something clever. Like if you remember in New Mutants, when those anti-mutant guys were sending out mutants' addresses and saying, oh, here's where these mutants are, go get them or whatever. And Danny Moonstar, in a brilliant move, said, okay, if you're going to do that, we're going to send the mutants your address. And I thought that was genius. That was a very clever way to reverse that. Something like this where you're dealing with like a racist guy or whatever, the anti-mutant guy, I don't know what the term would be, anti-mutant or mutant hater. Like, why don't X-Factor, who are the heroes, why don't they, you know, maybe go up to him and say, hey, look, you know, we're the good guys here, we're on your side, or try to find some common ground. I don't know. That seemed, it just took me right out of the story. Luckily, once we get past that, we get into what I consider to be the proper X-Factor idea that they're trying to push with this book, and that idea is that they're investigators. So they're trying to figure out what's going on with Siren's death. So now we're past that dumb part, and we're into the actual storyline of what's going on here. And they're trying to figure out what happened, because Siren can fly, obviously, and she's found dead. So there's something weird going on. Now, I think it is Prodigy, yes. I'm not too familiar with that character, but he wants to learn more about the decomposition rates and stuff of the bodies, which I think is really neat. I really like all that stuff. And so he basically is like, well, can I keep some of these bodies and figure it out? So Dr. Reyes is like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so he's doing that. So then we've got and North Star's like not happy here. He's like, what are you doing? I actually really like North Star as the leader here. I think he's done really well. I like the costumes a lot. I think they look cool. I like that it is a team, but they still have their kind of their own color scheme to them. And then North Star is just basically like, okay, fine. If you really, really feel that you need to do this, then yeah, okay, let's do it. And then this ends off with some great stuff here with Siren, because they're interrogating her, and she's like, well, why are you interrogating me? Like, I died. Like, dying is not a crime. But X-Factor is like, well, we're trying to investigate why. And she's definitely lying and keeping something secret. So I really like this part of it. I almost wish that this, you know, I wish that, again, I don't review I don't care what someone's, you know, like political thoughts are or whatever. I'm Canadian. We're in Canada here, so we don't even deal with any of that stuff that was going on for you guys in the US. We're not even part of that. I'm not part of that at all. I don't know anything about what's going on really politically or whatever. Okay, and it doesn't really affect Canadians. I don't think it does anyway. But it's like, I think you got to leave this kind of stuff out of this book, or if you're going to put this kind of thing in, you have to do it in a little bit of a more clever way, the way they did it with New Mutants, which I thought was like really a good way to do it. Here was just very basic. Oh, he's like some old white guy, let's beat him up. And you're like, well, I don't care. It comes across as very sloppy. You could do it in a better way. That's just my opinion. Okay. Anyway, so this stuff is really good here with Siren, and she basically takes off. She's like, look, I'm done here. They know that she's lying. Polaris, who I love. Polaris is one of my faves, though I don't like what she did in the beginning of this in this book, as I've mentioned, but I do have a Polaris tattoo, so I'm gonna give her a pass because I like Polaris. She meets up with Siren, and Siren uses like some hypnotic thing to make her like sabotage any attempts to look into her death. So that was really cool. I like that. And then Siren ending off here, look, that's badass. Siren is awesome. She just looks awesome too. She's a cool character. All right, so that was X-Factor. Very disappointed in the beginning, just because I felt that, trying to, throw that little bit in there was just very sloppy writing. Let's get into Hellions, man. Hellions number 8 continues to be good. So everyone's been resurrected because they all got killed in the Ten of Swords, and they've been resurrected now. And Orphan Maker needs a suit to contain his mutant abilities, because if not, it's just gonna cause like a bunch of destruction, and everyone will die, like the world will end or whatever. So the thing is that the nanny has she can rebuild the suit. Is the nanny a she? I'm not sure. I'm gonna say she, but I'm not really sure about that now that I'm thinking about that. But I'm gonna say she. So she can rebuild it, but she needs to get to her ship. But her ship has been taken by this guy Hodge. Is it Cameron Hodge? And he's a total piece of crap. So he's a great villain. He's a total asshole. He hates mutants. He wants to kill them all. And this book does it right. He's a stinking bastard. He wants to kill the mutants. He really thinks highly of himself and all that. And the way they undo that in this book is really, really fun and neat. And this is like the opposite of how it was done in X-Factor. This is how you deal with these subjects and put a little twist on them, in my opinion, of course. Okay, so let me just, it is Cameron Hodge, right? Yeah, Cameron Hodge. I'm not super familiar with this character either, so you can beat me up in the comments if you want. So he's got all these robots. First of all, he just looks great. Like, he just looks like he's a total asshole, which is just, I think it's just great. He's like, oh, hey. And he's like preaching to them and everything. It's so good. And then it's just a battle with these robots, which is a good battle. It's a good little fight here. And so spoilers are in effect. Oh, I kind of spoiled X-Factor, but like, who cares? Spoilers are always in effect for my videos, so I apologize if you got spoiled on X-Factor. Let me know if you like X-Factor. Tell me, because maybe I'm missing something. I like the mystery aspects of X-Factor a lot, but they're not focusing enough on the mystery aspects, in my opinion. Okay, so this is an action book. Hellions is action-packed, right? It's fighting. It's like, and so yeah, they're fighting the robots. Now the big thing here is that Empath gets captured. I'm really liking Empath. I don't know, I'm really liking him a lot. He's very interesting to me. He's just neat. And I love the fact that he's got his the purple, like whatever, purpley, light purple, pink outfit from the New Mutants, the old comic, which is great. And he's basically laughing at Cameron, saying, oh, it's like, you're not even a real person. You're just a robot. And it's like, what? And yeah, it turns out he is a robot. So he's just a robot anyways, which is great. So he was all high and mighty saying, oh, you guys are a bunch of losers and whatnot. And meanwhile, you're just a robot. So I really like the way that they undid that entire thing. That was kind of neat. It wasn't just a generic thing where he's just like some asshole. It's like they put a little bit of a twist to it and made it a little bit more interesting. Like, look at him. He's all blown. Empath is so great. He's laughing at him. I'm liking Empath a lot. I might have to look up and see if there's any action figures of Empath. So now we're getting into a really interesting part here because the robots are now reprogramming themselves and they're not hating mutants anymore. But if you remember your Dawn of X stuff, they cannot have any AI. The Quiet Council will not allow any AI because of the whole things with Dawn of X, and you can just get into that on your own and check that out. Empath dies again. Empath has died like 100 times already in this book. He's died like at least 3 times in 8 issues or whatever. So, but Psylocke is in contact with Magneto, and she has to destroy these robots because she's scared that they're becoming sentient and that they could reproduce. So she has to pull the plug, and she does, and it's really well done. You'll have to read it to get all the nuances, but it was really well done. But then there's like a little stinger at the very end, which Nanny didn't reveal. I'm going to show it to you, and there is a little baby kind of robot thing. So you're like, oh crap. And that's how this one ends. I liked this one a lot. I'm really liking Hellions a lot. I think it's like one of the top X books. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. X-Factor, if you're not bothered by these things, and I'm not really bothered that much, but it does take me out of it. I don't want too many, real world or what some people perceive the real world references to always be there to, take me out of the story. I mean, that said, it's not living up to the hype. I was really looking forward to X-Factor big time. I like this idea of investigating the deaths and everything is really neat. So the back half of this book was really, really nicely done with this, like talking about Siren and figuring it all out. The beginning part was okay. They're investigating the crime scene, which is fine, but they just couldn't help themselves but throw in that very cliched character. Oh, he's the evil white guy who's all pissed off. It's like, come on, guys. And then they just beat him up, and then that's the end of it. That's not a conclusion. A conclusion would have been to, be nicer to him or take the high ground and be like, no, we're going to do this. But no, I know someone's going to tell me in the comments, well, it was Polaris and she's kind of bad. I know, I know, but it's not, that doesn't mean I have to think it's great. As I said, better examples are in Hellions and better examples are in New Mutants if you want to see how to deal with these anti-mutant guys. But anyways, okay, go. That is it for this week. I will see you next time.